Mike didn't switch his microphone on again. Okay, today we cover the modules ahead of Student Engagement Week. We confirm Andy Berman at Westminster. We ask for feedback on the course so far during mid-semester. The BPAT applications have gone live. And we take a look at a tweet of the week. Stay tuned, guys. Guys, welcome to episode 6 of SEN Stream. The microphone is a killer. It's one little button that I always forget to press, and if we stick with the trend of my episodes having an absolutely dreadful introduction, then we're on topic. We're definitely achieving that. So today we're going to have just a bit of a look ahead towards what's going on, particularly as we move into a sort of student engagement week or mid-semester. And we'll just talk about, we'll just do some mopping up on some of the modules, and we'll look ahead as to some of the training opportunities that you guys have got during Student Engagement Week, and then we'll just kind of head through from there. So let me just get my notes up for each of the modules, and we'll go from there. So it's been a busy 5 weeks, we're coming up to Student Engagement Week, which is week 6, just to make sure that everyone's on the right page. This is kind of an opportunity for you guys to just, take set of where we're at, have a look at some of your assessments, and just maybe invest a little bit of time into making sure that you're all up to date and all up to speed. Let's just have a look at some of the modules then. So we'll start with Research Methods for Health Sciences 1. So I'm going to talk about the student reps, but some of the students reps have been allocated now. So I'm going to talk through those later on. But some of you guys got in touch with us anyway with regards to some feedback on Research Methods for Health Sciences 1. So some of the feedback was that, you guys would appreciate if some of the lectures were recorded, and some issues with regards to being able to hear lecturers within that sort of big lecture room when you've got the 2 screens. So first and foremost, a little bit of confusion over the Panopto stuff. So the Panopto folder wasn't created for this module. So it has now been created for the 2018 running of this module, which means that when you go onto Research Methods for Health Sciences 1's Blackboard page, if you head across to the Panopto folder, which is under your tools, you will now find that the sessions that have been recorded by Liza and any other contributors to that module who have recorded sessions, you'll find those videos in there. So if you need to go back and review some content, that's where you'll get it. So go across, check it out, and you'll find the stuff in there. Now, lecture recording is a very personal thing for lecturers, and what I'd say to you guys is that if your lecture's recorded, I'd see that as a bonus, but the expectation is that you attend and you get more from the session. There's actually a lot of research coming out now to sort of highlight that attendance is actually pretty key, because the learning environment and the learning experience for you guys is much richer. So don't rely on the lecture recordings for various different modules. See them as a bonus if they are there. But similarly, we're having some sound issues within that room. So I've asked Teddy if we could maybe speak to the audiovisual department of the university to ensure that he has access, or anybody else who's teaching on that module has access to a lapel mic, which just basically means that the lecturer doesn't have to be stood right next to the lectern when they're actually doing the session, and they can roam around the room and you guys will still be able to hear it. So because we don't want this situation where the lecture's not recorded, and therefore if you miss something because you can't hear the person, then that's kind of the worst of both worlds. So let's just make sure that we're going to make sure that the audio is sorted out in that room so that you guys can hear the lecturers, so that no content is missed, essentially. But do make sure that you get to the sessions. Another thing that you guys can do as well is just make sure that if you are struggling to hear the lecturer, there's 2 things you can do. First thing, try and sit closer to the front, but obviously not everyone can sit at the front. And secondly, if you are struggling to hear in the session, put your hand up and tell the lecturer, because if they don't know about it, they'll continue as they are as if everything is fine, which is not always the case. So just don't be afraid to put your hand up and just say, guys, I'm sorry, I'm struggling to hear at the back. Is it okay if you speak up? So at least then whoever's doing the session is aware of what's going on. The final thing is just availability of materials. I've just asked to make sure that the materials are put up a little bit in advance of the session. I know a few of you struggle keeping up with the session if you haven't had a chance to have a look at the materials beforehand. So rest assured, we've got the feedback. We're trying to do something about it. What would be nice to do, just feed this back in. I'm going to ask for some holistic feedback on the course over mid-semester, but I'm going to talk about that shortly. But please do let us know if things have improved, and similarly, if any more feedback that we can try and address would be great. Other updates for Research Methods for Health Sciences 1. So Jessica has been running the additional training sessions for the Concepts Principles module. Now, from what I understand, those are going to now stop as we go into mid-semester break. And as we move out of mid-semester break, there's going to be some more help sessions on that Tuesday morning slot from Teddy, who is going to be doing some extra drop-in sessions for the statistics sort of training. So any work on SPSS and using SPSS for as a tool it's intended to be used for. So those additional help sessions on a Tuesday morning will transfer from being concepts help sessions into statistics help sessions, just to help you guys settle down on that module. So because we don't have a session leading into next week, there is no specific session focused today, but next week we'll have a look at what you'll be doing in week 7. But it would be a good time for you to start focusing on your CASP assessments, because that will be handed in shortly after mid-semester break. So that's what your focus should be. If you need to catch up on any of the statistics booklets and things like that, again, that would be a really good opportunity for you to just have a bit of a step back and just have a look at where you're up to. So check out that module. Have a look and then continue on from there. Now, as always, guys, just I have the chat function open in the background, so you guys can't see it at the moment, but I definitely can. If there are any questions, concerns, queries that you have, feel free to put it on the chat. It will pop up on the box that I can see, and then we can just keep things moving along from there. So don't be afraid to ask any questions. It's super helpful if I know you guys are listening. If there's any concerns, then please feel free to ask. Okay, let's move it on and look at the next module. Now we've got nutrition and performance. So Jane's just sort of said, thank you and well done for doing the feeding the athlete practical on Tuesday. Apparently you guys have been doing some funky stuff with porridge. Now, I'm not quite sure what that refers to. If anyone can enlighten me on the chat, that would be fantastic. But yeah, imaginative ideas to what to do with porridge. Now, I can't help but feel there's an influence of Instagram here. Because if it's not avocado on toast, it's likely porridge or oats or yogurt of some description. So thank you, Instagram, for helping to aid in your development there. So next week there is nothing on for nutrition and performance as we move into student engagement week or mid-semester break. But then the week after that, you'll be looking at energy balance in sport and exercise and all things related to such as weight loss, weight gain, and disordered eating in athletes. So hot topic for a lot of endurance sports, a lot of weight sensitive sports such as horse riding, boxing, judo, gymnastics, or aesthetic sports as well, synchronized swimming, etc., etc. So get yourselves across to that. We'll talk a little bit more focused on that next week, but just to give you a bit of a heads up. You also have a practical associated to body composition. So you'll be estimating body fat percentage with various different methods. You'll be getting some practice in with skin fold techniques. So just get yourselves across to that session in loose fitting clothing is the general advice there. So the different body composition assessment techniques we have available to us would be bioelectrical impedance through the Secker scales. We've got the skin folds with the skin fold calipers. So you'll be using tapes and skin folds. Skin folds is a good one because it's the most accessible one you guys will have access to when you leave the university, because you can buy yourselves a decent set of calipers for not too much money. And once you become suitably trained on them, you can actually become quite accurate and precise with how you determine someone's body composition. So it's worth investing the time getting it right. Now, this year we didn't manage to get our Isaac training person to come down to university. This time I'll be pushing quite hard to make sure that that's in place. So you'll be sort of getting some baseline and understanding of using skin folds as for doing body composition, but we can really solidify that knowledge if we get someone who's suitably qualified to come and do the Isaac level 1 training course with you. So I'll talk about that more in the new year once we've got a date confirmed and we've got someone who can actually run the training session. So just think, nice to lay the foundations now, and then you can really try and sort of solidify that knowledge once you move forward into semester 2 and maybe in the summer when we run a training course on it. So let's move ahead. We're now on to practitioner skills for sports nutritionists. Now, I'd previously mentioned last week, and a few of you have been in touch regarding attending this session. Andy Berman will be coming to speak to you guys. We now have a date confirmed for Sanjoy's module on practitioner skills. So that would be the 28th of November. Chief Executive Officer for the BDA and the SEN Register will be Andy Berman coming in. The exact time of this session, so the session runs from 2 till 5. We're not 100% certain as to which time slot he's going to be filling, but it'll be about an hour and a half. Sanjoy's hoping for him to start sort of 2 onwards. Once we get that confirmed, I'll confirm it on the stream, and I'm no doubt Sanjoy will do the same on his module too. So just look out for that. Again, anyone who is in part-time year 1, feel free to come across this session if you are able to attend it. Just be aware that we're going to try and probably invite Andy back the following year as well. So, and try and make a yearly attendance of it. But these guys are difficult to pin down and get in through the door. So if you want to have a look at the session this year, please feel free to come along and check it out. And he's going to be talking about, I suspect, around governance, ethics, and ensuring that you guys are operating within the parameters that the AFN and specifically the BDA SEN Register suggests is appropriate to do so. So come along, check it out, and we'll go from there. Other updates for practitioner skills. Sanjoy, he's loaded me up with stuff this week, so thank you very much for sending that through, Sanjoy. So Sanjoy's put on some support sessions for you guys. So he's giving you a bunch of time slots here, so you can see on the screen. Let me just make this full size so you guys can see. We've got Thursday the 1st of November afternoon, Friday the 2nd morning or afternoon, Wednesday the 8th between 9 and 12 and 5 and 7. God, Sanjoy's putting some hours in here. Friday the 10th of November and from 9 till 10:30 and from 2 till 6. 2 till 6 on a Friday. If you choose a Friday slot at 5:30, you've got some answering to do. But I'm sure I'm kind of joking, but those are the time slots that he's offered you. Feel free to come along, get some additional assessment support with him on a one-to-one basis. Your assessment 1 is due on the 20th at 1 o'clock. And also, he's put up an assessment support video for you guys. I went to have a look at this just to see what the dealio is. So let's just have a see if I can find it. Here we go. Let's pop it up here. So he's done this lovely Panopto recording for you, 30 minutes long, which is a good effort, 28 minutes and 18 seconds. I was expecting us to see a little talking head, so that's okay. He's maybe a bit more shy than I am, maybe just, whatever. But have a look at the video. He goes through the rationale, what's expected in it, the portfolio content, giving you a run through the rubric as well, which is fantastic. You can see here as well, if you look at it through the Panopto link he's giving you, it gives you all the sections down the side here, which is kind of super helpful. If you just want to jump through to sections that you think, oh, this is the most important bit that I'm struggling with, you can save yourself a little bit of time. But I'd advise you to watch the whole thing. I'm sure there's a lot of useful stuff in there in order to apply to your assessment. So head across there, check it out, and it will definitely help you with your portfolio submissions. Moving on. Excuse me. He's giving you a little bit of insight as to what your next lecture will be. So this won't be next week, it'll be the week after. So athlete education and creating graphs and visuals to help support this. So kind of continuing on that theme of behavior change and trying to get your athlete on board to try and educate them as to why the particular intervention that you're using is going to be beneficial for them. A lot of the time you need to kind of sell this to people. So if you can create visuals which will help support that, that will be beneficial. So he's going to run you through some ideas of how you go about doing that. Then he's also, during the session, he's going to get you guys to run a short seminar on a sports nutrition topic as if you were speaking to an athlete. So again, we're trying to really get you to apply your knowledge accordingly. So go across and check it out, and then you can have a look and go from there. So moving on. Onto concepts and principles. So you've got me this afternoon. We're going to be looking at carbohydrates, which is kind of a generic topic. So this will be sort of 2 till 3, maybe a little bit longer. I tend to run on as I chat quite a bit. We're going to be looking at what is a carbohydrate, the different definitions. We're going to look a little bit on digestion, absorption, metabolism, only touching on that briefly. We're also going to be talking about how carbohydrate requirements change depending on activity levels, and how you can drive intensity through that. We're also going to be looking at it in a more sort of applied context. So looking at total carbohydrate content of the diet. So we know 50-55% is generally the advice that's given to the population. But what does that actually entail? So throughout the session, I'm going to get you guys to think about what the requirements, what the recommendations are, and try and have a think about how you might develop your own, and what are the different factors that you might want to consider and focus on when we think about those recommendations. So is it the physiological outcomes, or is it actually the definition, what the different composition of carbohydrates are within the diet, and then how you might apply those to holistic consumption on a population level? So I like to try and make the link quite obvious between the population level stuff and what an individual is doing. So that's the kind of focus that we're going to take on in that session this afternoon. Claire has asked me to highlight the fact that coursework 1, the deadline is fast approaching. Just a bit of clarity required here. The document online on the Blackboard site says it's 10 a.m. on Tuesday the 13th of November. However, this isn't in line with the college guidelines, and as such it will be until 1 p.m. that day. So Tuesday the 13th of November, you've got until 1 p.m. that day to submit your coursework 1. So just a bit, you've got an extra couple of hours there to sort it out. So make sure you get your stuff sorted out. Now, Claire has fed back as well to me. After we had a little bit of a chat about the discussion boards, she's kind of highlighted that you guys have really taken that on board and started using the discussion board. So well done. Excellent. It's helped her, it helps everybody else. So great job on getting that done. Let's move it on. So PATS is still running next week. Okay, so 12 till 2 on the Tuesday. Now, so the session focus here is creating an advocacy and influencing strategy. Now, there is a bit of a public health focus here, not gonna lie. She's running this session because it is during Student Engagement Week. So if you are interested on that sort of topic, then get yourselves across to the session and get involved. Regina had mentioned that quite a few SEN students were going to the sessions at the start of the semester and the attendance has dropped off. So it would be really nice to know why you guys are not seeing any benefit, or if it's just not working out in terms of the timetable or your availability. So I'm going to talk about how we're going to get some feedback from you guys in a second, but it might be worth finding out if PATS is working for you guys or not. And if it's not working, why is it not working? We'd love to find out why, so we can try and maybe put on some more specific sessions. It could well be that the SEN stream fulfills the need for what you guys want to do in PATS, or it's more specific and a bit more accessible. I don't know. Just trying to find out if we can make it better and if there's any more things that we can do. Now, before I move on to Student Engagement Week, I've just noticed we've got some questions on the chat from Dana. So let me just switch you over there so you guys can see. So Dana's asked, hi Mike, with regards to personal tutors, last year my personal tutor was Jane. However, this year we don't have her as a lecturer in any of the modules, and I actually don't see her as we are only in on a Wednesday. So I was just wondering, with who do I speak with? Good question, Dana. Your personal tutor won't change. Now, a lot of the personal tutors for the new sport and exercise, as in full-time students, is actually me. Now, I haven't been in touch with my personal tutees yet, simply because I like to give you all the opportunity to just get involved and figure out a lot of the stuff yourself. I will be in touch with my personal tutors in the coming weeks, and basically giving you an opportunity to invite you to come and speak. Now, all I would say, Dana, is that for your specific case there, I would encourage you to get in touch with Jane and just sort of say, hi Dana, I'm one of your personal tutees. I'd like to come and speak to you. Now, just a little bit of confusion that occurs with regards to personal tutees. Just because Jane is your personal tutor doesn't mean she will be your supervisor for the project. It may well be that Jane is allocated to you as your supervisor, and that's fine, but don't think that your personal tutor will also be your supervisor, because if that was the case, I would literally have 18 MSc student projects, which is literally not feasible. So don't make the connection. Your personal tutor serves a very specific focus and a very specific role. And I just encourage you to get in touch with your personal tutor and just ask whether it would be appropriate for her to maybe have a Google Hangouts call with you, for example, or if you can arrange a time on the Wednesday or outwith that session where you can have a chat. But if it becomes a problem, I'd just recommend that you get in touch with me directly, and we'll see if we can maybe make a more suitable arrangement. But that would be my advice so far. Okay, if we just head back to the student engagement week stuff. Now, what we've got here, I've opened up, I should have posted this onto the Blackboard site, I just haven't had a chance, but let's have a look at it now. So I keep using the word student engagement week and mid-semester break interchangeably. It's because in my mind it's mid-semester break, but at Westminster we call it student engagement week, and the reason being is that we are expected to put on activities for our students that enhance your experience, so that's why it's called in student engagement week. We can see that for the nutrition department we have a focus on employability. Now I'll be posting this onto the Blackboard site when I get a chance, but essentially what we have here is a 11 till 4 session on the Thursday, the 1st of November. And you can see here we've got various different talks from different academics with a focus on employability. It's literally in the title. So you can see here, Claire's going to talk to you about opportunities explored and others I wish I had followed. So talking about a bit more of a reflective process on what her career has been like so far. Rumi's going to be talking about the idea of being so good that they can't ignore you. So I assume that's in relation to job applications, writing like your CV, your covering letter, how you approach an interview, for example. Then we've got EHAB focusing on preparing for an interview. Then we've got a bit of lunch, which I believe is provided, though I'm not sure. Yep, refreshment and lunch in room 2. You get a free lunch, guys. Come on. I mean, what more do you want? We've got an alumni coming in to talk, which just needs to be confirmed. And then you've got a network and discussion session at the end of that thing. So if you think that you would like to find out a little bit more and attend that session, get yourselves across there, find out more about employability and making yourselves employable as you move forward in your degree pathway. Okay, moving it on. Okay, so my begging requests were met, thankfully, by students on the course. So we have some course representatives for the 2018-2019 period. We've got Sinead as part-time year 1. We've got Francesca as part-time year 2. And we've got Ted and Evie as the full-time course reps. Now, these guys have, in some ways, self-selected because what we should do is have an election and all that sort of stuff. But as I've only had 4 people, those 4 people that are shown on the screen there, get in touch with me. We're going to go ahead with those guys. And we're just going to make sure that Ted, Evie, Francesca and Sinead kind of capture the thoughts of the whole group. Now, we're very keen to get some feedback on how things have gone for the first 5 weeks of semester. Now, I have distributed this form to the 4 course representatives this year, but I'm just going to share it with you now. Now, I've shared it with them first, simply to get some feedback as to make sure that the students are happy, as in you guys are happy with the questions that are being asked. So this is a draft so far. Until I get the nod from Eve, Ted and Francesca, Sinead, it's just a draft so far. But what I've used in previous years looks a little bit like this. So if I just head across to the Google form now, I already have it open here so you can actually see the questions. So you'll get presented with this form. Now, first and foremost, it's important that this form is anonymous. So you'll need to sign into, I don't even think you need to sign into your student account actually to do this, but you will see that there is no way that we can tell who has answered what. So there's no names, there's no emails, there's no student numbers, there's nothing. It's literally, here's a questionnaire, please can you fill it out anonymously with your thoughts. Now, the only thing I would say here is that I have tried to differentiate between full-time, part-time year 1, part-time year 2, just because the needs of those groups are so different. Now, you might feel that there's only 4 students who are part-time year 1, there's only 4 students that are part-time year 2. So there is also an option to say, prefer not to say. The only reason I've included these is so that we can then differentiate between the different course modalities to ensure that we kind of capture the needs of those groups. So I've just blown it up a bit so you guys can actually see what it says. But essentially, we've got some questions here. How satisfied are you with the course so far? So with the course content, so what you see in the modules, the intensity, like how that content is delivered, the general coverage of nutrition as a topic, sport and exercise nutrition specifically, the quality of that content, coverage and intensity, and then the activities that have been provided so far. And you can see here, rubbish, not great, okay, good, fantastic, 1 to 5 rating, and then we can kind of get a rough idea of how you feel. Now, a lot of you, because you're, the well-educated individuals will have a lot more to say on this, and I've given you the opportunity to do that. So you can see here, we've got some questions. So what is good about the course? What do you want to do more of, or what could we do more of? Again, let us know what you think. So what's good, but why is it good, and what would you like to see more of across the modules? Similarly, what doesn't work, or how can we improve it? And if you could improve one thing in particular, what would it be? And finally, any additional thoughts so far, the good, bad, just simply a comment that you want to share. Again, just be honest, try and be constructive. So if you have something that you're not quite keen on, then try and sort of say, I don't like this because of these reasons. I suggest you could fix it by doing these things. And it just makes sure that it gives direction to your feedback, rather than it just being, don't like Mike's SEN stream because it's just him wobbling his head around. It doesn't really give me much more other than you're not keen on it. Do you know what I mean? I've used a very personal thing there, but it just gives us a bit more rich feedback that we can try and then do something about. So once I get the nod from the course reps that they're good with this, then I will distribute this via the course website. Again, the success of the feedback forms is that people take the time to fill them out, and that's why we're using Student Engagement Week to do it, because it's a good time for us to take stock, see how things are going, and we can go from there. The idea is that once I've collated all the responses, I'll chat to our course reps above and just see what they would like to prioritize or what they think can prioritize, so that we can get a response back to you guys. Now, another thing we can do is if you want to approach any of these individuals directly and provide them with feedback, that is also okay as well. And the plan will be for me to meet with the course reps after mid-semester break so that we can discuss feedback they've received, the feedback that we've got on the form, and then we can kind of go from there. So very keen to get your input. We're good to find out how we can improve things and find out what we're doing well as well. So check it out when it's released and we'll go from there. Okay, moving on. Just a reminder that the BodPod assessment team form is now open. I've again left this open on the screen here. Now don't freak out. Oh, we've had another response since I checked this morning, which is fantastic. So you can see here, Westminster Human Performance Laboratory BPAT training program, first and last name, student email, submit your CV. You can add a file here to upload it. Then you've got a covering letter submission as well. Stick that in there, and then basically it will confirm. I'm not going to click on the responses. We've got 8 responses from last year's cohort, so 2 people from this year has applied. Thank you for your applications. I'm not going to open that up because I think there's no reason why I need to share who's applied for that so far. But two responses received so far. We're going to close the applications on Friday next week. So get it in before Friday next week. Again, you've got all of mid-semester break to kind of just see if you want to put an application in, see if you can meet the requirements. But it's a good opportunity. Check it out. Get your application in if you're keen, and we'll go from there. Okay, clicked on the wrong button here. 1 second. There we go. Next. I think we're on to our tweet of the week. So we have Javier Gonzalez here, human physiologist from the University of Bath. He's a high flyer within the sport and exercise nutrition world, and he's shared a tweet with us this week, which we're going to check out now. So let's head across there now. So Javier is prolific on Twitter. He uses it as a platform for sharing lots of different things. I've just got rid of the tweet itself. Let me just go and do that again. Here we go. Here we go. So he has published a new review which is looking at dietary sugars, exercise, and hepatic carbohydrate metabolism. He's giving you the highlights, 3 highlights here. Fructose containing sugars, e.g. sucrose or table sugars, for example, increase liver glycogen more so than many other carbohydrates. Increasing glycogen may be beneficial for endurance performance, correct. Decreasing glycogen may reduce liver fat production and improve health. So this is this idea of gluconeogenesis and also de novo lipogenesis as well. So that's the creation of fats through excess carbohydrates stored within the liver. Great paper. I've flicked through it. I've not had the chance to properly read it yet, but it will be on my train reading list before you know it. Go across there, check it out, have a read. It will feed nicely into today's lecture. It's also a bit more specific on the metabolism of glucose and also what happens in terms of its absorption when it goes through your hepatic portal vein into your liver. What happens to the processing of fructose and other carbohydrates, and how does it differ between the two as well? Very current. It came out literally last week, I believe. So check it out. Go and have a look. That's our tweet of the week. Javier tweets a lot, so if you want to follow him, get a bit more involved with what's going on, particularly from the morning feeding. So if basically is breakfast good before exercise, or whether exercising on an empty stomach, and its application from a health perspective is the kind of key focus for him. And also lots of carbohydrate metabolism stuff as well. So head across there, check it out. You'll find some useful information on there if you have a Twitter account. Okay, I think we are pretty much coming to the end of what I want to talk about today. Yep, that's us. Now, I haven't had many questions on the chat today, which is possibly a good thing, which means all of your needs are being met, which is good. But what I would say is, if there are any questions, now would be the time to ask them. But other than that, a short stream today, and I will leave you guys to it. Again, get your head down over the mid-semester break, get involved with your assessments, check out the stuff that Sanjoy sent you, check out the stuff that's Claire has sent you. Come to the lecture this afternoon. That would be great. It'd be good to get some friendly faces in the audience, because we've got the GPHN lot in there as well, and I don't recognize a lot of them, so it'd be good to get a good representation of SEN students in there. So short stream today. Thank you very much for joining me. If you're on the other end, hope you find it useful, and yeah, enjoy your mid-semester break, and I will catch you on Thursday next week. All right, take it easy, guys. Cheers.